Welcome to our program, Jump Into It. Jump Into It, a podcast and live show helping entrepreneurial-minded women jump into a better life. Welcome. I'm your host, Gabrielle Hailmann, entrepreneur, marketer, and author. I've had the pleasure of helping over 100 businesses build their online presence and grow successfully. And along with me, Anita Booth. She is a senior marketing executive, a two-time author and spiritual activist. Anita and I are going to be talking together collectively about the power of AI, some of the learning that we have identified in our career and how we're embracing it in our business, as well as addressing what we perceive are some of the threats and opportunities in AI moving forward in the future.
Do you want to share what AI is?
So AI stands for, as you know, artificial intelligence, and it's really a way of replacing humans. So essentially, it's a definition using ChatGPT, an AI tool. Their definition is to create machines that simulate human intelligence, and in some cases, even surpass it. And essentially, it's there to save money and time and give businesses a competitive edge, and simply to do work that humans used to do and hopefully do it better than humans. So it's really, I think that is where the fear is for a lot of people with AI, is that how is this going to impact my job? Is it going to be a positive thing, or is it going to replace me? And so it's, so we're going to kind of unravel around trying to get to what AI is, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding on its threat. And really, there's a lot of, when it comes to marketing and customer experience and service and delivering really a much more positive experience in buying and selling products, AI can play a really strong role in being able to elevate businesses so that they can better be more customer centric. So, the research that I'm doing on it and my personal experiences, I think there's a lot of positives. And sure, there's a few negatives as well, but we want to embrace, we'll talk about both sides of it. But, so Anita, I know like both of you and I use AI, and I'll walk through a few of the examples of how I use it. But, can you start with how you're using AI and the benefits you're reaping from it as a marketer and as an executive?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, when ChatGPT first sort of came out into the foray of more the consumer area, it was one of those tools that I certainly took a good look at. And firstly, I just created a free account, and I encourage all people to do that, not to be afraid to create the account and give it a test ride. And what I mean by that, there's so many ways that I discovered that it could assist me, not only at work. I use it as I would hate to say, as a little bit like a companion, or that next step beyond Google. Google's great. Google gives you those same answers. I mean, it is generating your searches by what you're searching for. But the difference between AI and Google is it actually thinks about what you're asking them.
Let's just clarify for listeners, when Anita's referring to AI, she's referring to ChatGPT. So if people aren't familiar with it, go online and Google it. And as she said, you can get a free account, and it does support different queries. Sorry, Anita, I just wanted the listeners to better understand that,
Yes,
AI is a very broad term, but ChatGPT is a specific AI tool.
Exactly. And there are many different AI tools that can support in many areas of your business, but specifically, I'm a communicator, communications, marketing and communications. And for me, I use it as a way to help me communicate. And what I mean by that is if I have to write an email and I have to think about various pieces of what that communication will be, ChatGPT will help craft my email for me. Now, I'd caution anyone to just take what chat gives you and run with it, because it does talk in it has a certain tone, and it is very well written. So if you're not a good writer, and all of a sudden, and I can see this with the teenagers in school, it's a concern there, and we may be able to touch on what those kinds of concerns are. But you certainly wouldn't just take what it gives you and run with it. But what I do with it is it starts the thinking process for you, and it takes the time away that I would normally spend maybe half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes on one email, if you can believe that, because I'm writing to executives, I'm writing to people in, very senior positions, and I wouldn't just, bang off an email without, putting some time and thought into it, especially if there's something complex to communicate. So number one, it will take a complex communication and help simplify it for you. And by feeding it information about, let's say, your business, we're talking entrepreneurs here, and your tone and your brand, as you feed the information into the chat, and it remembers you've come back now, you've created an account. Every time you go back and ask it something, it remembers what you've told it. So it's like talking to a friend to some degree. It's like me talking to you, Gabriella. Hey, can you help me? Give me some thoughts. And we do that all the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're busy and sometimes others are busy. And so chat has become my companion.
They do say that you're going to end up marrying your AI.
Oh, I and I do have a story after about a conference I attended, a tech conference, and I will share how two AIs talk to each other. But yes, so that is what I would say about attempting to give it a try. And you asked other ways that I use it. So in the last little while, I'm pulling together a big deck for work and looking at 2023 and Google Analytics, going into GA4 and pulling, interesting pieces of data to share with
GA4, just so our listeners
know.
So Google Analytics allows people to be able to see all visitor traffic to their website. So it's code that's on your website that Google now pulls it and is able to track all activity. And then GA4 is a version of that platform that has just been launched last year in 2023. And it used to be called Google Analytics Universal. So anyway, so GA4 is just a version that just to give a little background on what that is. Okay.
I should clarify, but thank you. Yeah. So for example, how did I use, I'm in one platform pulling data. How would I use ChatGPT to help me? Well, I started looking at some things and I was like, well, I'm going to ask Chat, what the percentage growth or the conversion rate, and instead of me thinking about the math behind what I needed, I put the scenario into chat and I said, listen, I see this many visitors coming and this many views and etc. Can you give me what this is? And it gives you the formula, writes it out, and then it gives you a nice little summary of what I had asked. And so that for me just saved me time to pick up the calculator. First of all, not everybody's a mathematician. I say that all the time. I'm certainly not. And sometimes I forget, simple formulas, percentage growth, or, what's the conversion rate or the click-through rate. And those are things that you need to address in something like that. And I find that the chat will help you even at that level. So now we're talking, it's helping you with your math questions. It's helping you create an email.
Oh,
And
and to add to that, I mean, it's not just email communications.
yes, correct.
ChatGPT can write blogs for you. They can help write your ad copy. Anything that you're producing, any level of communication, they can help assist. They can even help write a script for you. They can help write a workshop for you. I mean, how ChatGPT works is that it pulls mounds of data and information from multiple different servers, and then instantly with that query it pulls up the information in it and it's displayed, and the information is free. Now, another area that could be discussed is that information at one time was probably copyright protected. And what ChatGPT is freely going through and pulling that information for users at no cost. However, there is some ethical or moral questions around ChatGPT, is the fact that we're not paying for information that somebody had worked very hard to write. So, I'm not going to get too much into the moral, the legalities of it, although there are a lot of questions around, the other side. I'm not saying don't use ChatGPT. I just think you need to be aware of where the multiple sources of data are being pulled from in order to serve this up almost instantly, these very complex questions that come out to be very succinct and very comprehensive.
I don't disagree. But I do want to emphasize what you said around it pulls multiple sources. It also pulls it on specific time frames. So if you're going into ChatGPT and you want to get something current, you're trying to look for a current source of information, something that might have just happened in the news, let's say. That is not the best place to go, because it is not pulling a live feed. And that is something to be aware of, that if you are looking for a source of information, it will give you an example if you want to incorporate information in that way. But it is good to tell you that that it doesn't have it as of a certain date, or just, I don't pull my information from sources live. Whereas if you're in Google and you're searching in Google, you'll get the most timely, relevant, available sources to whatever question you have, and then it's up to you to discern what you're going to take from it. So I think that is important to note about the AI tool. And yes, there are some moral and ethical, I guess, issues around. I mean, there's much conversation happening around, oh, it's going to replace all humans. And it's, we're giving,
Journalists, writers.
We're going to blow up the world at some point. And hey, maybe 50, 100 years from now. I don't see it in the next 5 or 10 years that this is going to totally change the way everybody works. First of all, certain industries, certain regulatory environments like the banking world, I'm sure they're using it in a very controlled way, and I'm sure that everybody's trying to figure out how they're bringing the AI tools into their work environment. But when it comes to entrepreneurial and you're just starting out, you might be in that early stage, that tool can help you with everything from contracts, simple contracts. It can help with plans. You can, again, it's all about what the input. So it's not just a simple, hey, can you write my 2024 marketing plans? It won't know what to tell you. It'll tell you how to put a plan together at that point. But now if you start feeding it some information, I want to do some content marketing, I want to, XYZ, it will formulate a pretty good template for you to start working from. Again, it's not meant to do your job for you. At least I don't see it that way. I see it as a tool to help you save time and to help get you thinking in a very strategic and thoughtful direction.
Hmm, hmm. Very well. That very well put. I mean, as far as it impacting you, and you're saying 50 to 100 years, you don't see it. I would challenge that because
Yeah, I
it
might have
is
stretched
right.
it a little bit. I was like, nah,
You know,
maybe not,
it
maybe
is moving.
20.
The growth rate,
It
I
is
think, was
moving
about
fast.
300% growth rate within the last year or two.
Wow.
And all the jobs that are going, it's going to be forecasted by 2026, a $300 billion industry. So, and that's just in the United States. So this is huge. It's just I think, you know, if you want to look at jobs, become a data scientist for AI. The jobs are going to be opening up, swinging open everywhere. And, you know, AI has become a real buzzword, but AI has been around for a while. I mean, Netflix has been using it. Netflix, when you go on Netflix, they know your profile. They come up with recommendations on the movies that they're recommending. You see, all of that is built behind AI. Google AdWords. Google has been using algorithms for many years in order to predict what ad to deliver and to who and to when. And they have automatic bidding for, you know, for placement. That's all kind of built around AI. I mean, the social media and putting ads, AI driven ads based on your profile, what you've looked at before, what you're most likely to engage in. The AI will create the actual content and ads to serve up. So this is not, AI is something that's been around for a while. And Anita and I have come from the banking system. So, you know, my background is a database marketer. Well, you know, we use predictive models, and they were all built around algorithms to predict what a person's next purchase is going to be. So this is just now on steroids. This taking simple tasks and automating them, and that's essentially a lot of it. I mean, Alexa, Siri, those are all AI
Absolutely.
tools, right?
Absolutely.
So you know, and the you know, the self-driving car, that's an AI tool as well. So you know, you know, you're just thinking, oh my gosh, it just happened yesterday. No, it's been evolving for
Mhm.
years,
Mhm.
from very simple models to more complex problem solving automated tools. So it's just, it is, I mean, I think that it's at a tipping point that it's, you know, it's going through exponential growth because businesses are seeing that, hey, this is saving me time, this is saving me money. They've got now, they're going to have a barista where you can buy a machine that will make the coffee for you, however you want it. They've got air fryers. You can put a food into the air fryer and not have to do any setting. The air fryer will figure out what kind of food it is, how best to prepare, turn it on, cook it, boom, it's done. So, you know, it's, you know, these are all really great ways of making our life easier. But if you're a
Yeah.
barista, or if you're, you know, you're doing one of those repetitive tasks, then it's now your time to step away from it and see what you can do, that where you would augment or use AI in order to not have to do those competitive tasks. I mean, for me as a marketer, I use marketing automation tools. Well, I can set up a whole program, and based on what they look at or what they click on will determine the next email, will determine the next communication. I set it up and it runs. And now other, not just ChatGPT, Bing is using it now too as an AI tool to be able to answer questions. They can book a meeting for you. Hilton is using it. You just go online and they'll book a hotel, reservations, recommendations for attractions. You've got, so even the Eventbrite, which I have used for this to gather an audience. They're using AI to write the whole introduction for this event. So you know what? AI is being embedded in many different tools, current tools, to make it simpler for the user to be able to use the tool quickly and efficiently. So this is all really great news as an entrepreneur, because you don't have to write, you don't have to hire a journalist or a copywriter. You can now be able to speak more confidently without those embarrassing typos, or those, if you use Grammarly too, is another great tool. But those embarrassing typos, or awkward sentences, or facts that are not well supported, or so to be more objective. So this is an exciting time for an entrepreneur, because you don't have to have a big staff to look like you're really professional and you're leading edge.
And it's reliable. It is reliable. I've said
Yeah,
that.
it never gets a cold.
Exactly. You're never not going to get an answer. It's never not going to come, and be late for work. I mean, I say that a little, to be cheeky, but you think about your phone, your mobile phone, where we were years ago, how that has progressed. And now nobody can live without, their iPhone or their Samsung on their person. It's so it the fact that AI can, integrate in other tools that we have today is just another amazing step that we're taking in, the evolution of technology. Now you can put, as you said, you got your Siri, but you can put chat right on your phone and you can talk to it too. And so there are, there is those worries that as you mentioned, around, is it the right thing to do, to have it help you write, your newsletter
Whereas
forward?
you're being authentic when
Is
everybody
that
can have
helping
the
you be
same copy,
exactly
right?
right?
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah,
point. It's a good point, and that's why I think I want to stress that it's not something you just take and run with. You have to then look at it, and maybe you have to remove a paragraph. Maybe you have to reword the sentence to be, more in line with, your thinking, the way you would articulate yourself. And so we all have a personal style, and you have to, let it know what your personal style is. Oh, I don't talk like that, chat. Make it a little casual, or, so again, it goes back to the input on anything. It's just like a calculator. You want an answer, you better be putting those numbers in right if you want the right answer. And so I think the AI tool works in a similar way, where your input is equally important as what the output becomes. And
yeah. That's
I
a
think,
really good point. And building on that, the input and the output is that what are some of the drawbacks, or some of the challenges and threats associated with AI? And I've got a few of them listed here, and I thought it would be a good conversation
yeah, please
around where
share.
you put the input and the output. And one of them is really the bias, data quality and bias, because the AI is only as good as what you put into it. So the chat GPT is only as good as the data it accesses. So if the humans have to determine what data is going to go into that AI tool, and there can be a bias in what goes in that tool, and that's going to impact the output of what you're going to receive. And as you said, like, if everybody's asking the same question to ChatGPT in order to repurpose that content for their own business purposes, we're going to all start looking and sounding the same.
Exactly. And that is absolutely a worry. And
Yeah.
the other extension of that, and not to, be a bit grim, but if there are nefarious people who are putting, horrible things into it,
Yeah.
is that particular, set of discussion will be dark and could lead to, ideas. If somebody says, I want to do something crazy and starts talking that way, that is certainly, I mean, we're, going outside of the business realm a little bit. But maybe this might be a really great time to share this example of what happened at this really high tech conference I was at last year called Cybos. It's a global conference, brings people from around the world to hear about innovations in all areas of digital payments and metaverse, and at the end of it closed with this incredible panel. So you think of your traditional panel of analysts of people. This was 2 AI avatars that they had up on screen. And so you can imagine everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's gonna come out? And there was a live moderator talking to 2 AIs. And one was, I don't know, remember their names, but maybe it was Mary and Jane. And Mary and Jane each had a different looking avatar, but almost human avatar. So you looked at them, you're like, oh, that looks like, could be you or I up there answering these questions. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting was the moderator would ask each a question, and they had somewhat differing of opinion. And at one point, one AI avatar disagreed with the other AI avatar. And it was on the question around, do you think that, this new world of artificial intelligence could, somehow end the world? Like, what do you think? And one AI avatar was like, well, I don't, no, for these reasons, it really, I don't think that it could happen. But the other AI lady was like, well, I disagree. If this happens, this could be the demise of the human race.
What is that?
I can't remember the points that they said, but the point was that now you had 2 separate systems back to, again, input. Well, one was a little bit more pessimistic around whether AI would take over the world and basically, kill the human race, or against the other AI who was like, no, there's, we put checks and balances and bubble, whatever mm-hmm. the positive side of it.
Well, that is, going back to some of the challenges around AI is certainly the regulatory and legal framework around it. So what parameters are we going to put in? Because man, not AIs, need to set those up. And then also, lack of transparency. I'm using Google as the algorithm to serve up an ad. What is behind that? I don't know what data there is, and I have no input in it. I have to just trust that what they're doing and and it's a learning tool too. So artificial intelligence is a learning tool. It keeps learning. And so we are never privy to the learning curve, what they're going through, the reasoning behind it. All we're end up at the end is a bill, and hopefully you made more money than you spent by using this AI Google algorithm. And then the other thing you say is security risks. Well, what if an AI gets hacked by a human? Mm-hmm. Or one AI gets hacked by another AI? And then right, and then
those are those things that need to be. And I do think there are the leaders of our country and our world that probably are having these discussions behind closed doors. I remember being at a conference and listening to the news. I was in the US, and I woke up and had one of the the morning shows on, and there was Elon Musk sounding the alarm bells on basically on chat, all the AI tools like ChatGPT, that we have to slow everybody has to slow down how much they're, in bigger businesses or other industries on how they're using it, because they need to be able to control the learning. And I mean, now there's called quantum AI, and that takes the learning exponentially. Now we're talking servers, think of the movie. Did you ever see the movie Her? I mean,
Yeah.
Her, it
Or,
was,
yes. Yes.
it was, I mean, and that's
Yeah.
where it's heading. I mean, the fact is that some of these movies that come out that we've seen, whether it's the Terminator, unfortunately, or movies like that, they were calling this out 20 years ago that
That's
this
true.
is where,
Sometimes you have to look at the future, you look at the movies. I mean, I just want to say something about Elon Musk. He was one of the developers for ChatGPT.
Oh, he was.
So,
And that's
yeah,
why I said that was interesting that all of a
yeah.
sudden it was
And
like
also, yeah,
sounding the alarm bells.
yes. And
Like,
also
thanks, buddy.
Tesla, it heavily embraces AI. So I mean, just take it for what you
Yeah,
will.
take
I
Elon
mean,
for what he is, right?
maybe he doesn't want anybody else to play in the
Yeah,
sandbox.
he's like, "Oh, stop," but he's still doing it.
Who knows? Who knows? But
Yeah.
there's some other interesting that I just wanted to share as well with the risks of AI is resource inequality, because countries like China and India are way ahead as far as the adoption of AI. North America is certainly there. But the other countries that aren't adopting as fast to AI, there's going to be more of an inequality between those countries that have AI and those that don't. So that is going to be another thing that is going to change the landscape, or may spread the haves and the have-nots even more. So,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that is, and then also the autonomy of weapons. If you right now we have more people deciding when that weapon is going to be triggered. But if we hand it over to AI, what kind of confidence do we have that AI is going to be making those right moral and ethical decisions that are going to impact our planet? So, I mean, I know that sounds doom and gloom, but these are all just areas that people are concerned with AI. I mean, I, as an entrepreneur, love it,
Mm-hmm.
and I embrace it. And I think any business that, especially when you have a small team, or you're a micro
Absolutely.
agency like
Absolutely.
myself, you want to embrace areas that you can be more effective, more efficient, with the work that you're doing, and save time and save money for your clients and for your business. So I mean, get ahead of it and enjoy it, because it is pretty AI is pretty awesome in its many different forms that it's surfacing. Is there anything that you want to add to this, Anita?
I think, we've kind of bounced around a little bit, which I like, because,
Yeah.
I think it's important to give the bigger picture perspective. That's what everybody's asking. What's going to happen? But I think you said it well. For entrepreneurs and growing businesses, I mean, as I said, I'm sure the big corporates are using it in much more sophisticated ways to, track and understand their customers. But as someone growing a business and needs a lot of support and doesn't know all the things, you're really great at, coming up with a product or a service, and you're a fantastic coach, but you're not a great marketer. You don't even know maybe where to start. And
Mhm.
so I think that that's where chat helps. And even we talked a lot about content creation, but social media,
Yeah.
you're looking for your 5, 6, 8 posts that you're going to put out in a month, and you can get those done in an hour on a Sunday afternoon. You tell them what you need, and there it gives you a great little post, and there you go. And then you go and then you hop into another tool, a scheduler that gets them all scheduled, and you've just taken a job that you might have had to pay somebody $500 a week to get those few posts out the door for you. So it's a way not only to save you time, it's a way to save you some money. And then as you grow, of course, then you're going to want to maybe bring on a writer or social media manager, because it's not meant to be all your employees and do all your jobs for you. It's meant, again, to support you in a way that allows you to make maybe some easy wins, and start, making some progress.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anita. And I want to thank our audience for joining us this week on the embracing the power of AI to grow your business. I hope you've learned a lot and got a few tidbits on how to help your business. For next week, we have another fabulous guest whose journey is sure to inspire you. To learn more, join our Facebook group, as well as we're on Instagram and on your favorite platform to listen to it. Our podcasts, which include on iHeartRadio, Spotify, to name a few. With the courage and knowledge to bring your ideas to life, be ready to jump into it. Thank you for listening.
Ready to jump into it.